Good afternoon, and welcome to Greater Indiana Clean Cities Electric Vehicle Charging Workshop. We thank you for joining us today as we explore electric vehicle charging benefits, planning, and programs. Before we begin, we have several housekeeping items to mention. We will send you the recording for today's webinar. You will be able to submit your questions in the chat box on your screen. After each presenter is finished, we have time set aside for a few questions. All attendees are in listen-only mode. We will have a survey at the end of the webinar for you to complete. Please take the 2 minutes to provide feedback so we can ensure we cover the topics you need. We have 3 speakers today. I am Kerri Garvin, Executive Director for the Greater Indiana Clean Cities Coalition, a standalone nonprofit designated by the U.S. Department of Energy to help deploy alternative fuels and vehicles. Abby Roen is the Business Development Manager for EVunited, who provides custom EV charging solutions for home, residential, and commercial businesses. And Craig Morris, the Energy Services Program Manager for Indiana Michigan Power, where he provides leadership and development of business strategies to bring products and services to their customers. As you can see, we have a full agenda today, and we'll do our best to stick to our timeline. After I provide an overview of Greater Indiana Clean Cities, Abby will share information about EVunited and review the benefits of EV charging and planning considerations. Craig will then present information about Indiana Michigan Power's EV pilot program called I Am Plugged In. Following Craig's presentation, I will cover current funding opportunities for EVs and EV infrastructure. Greater Indiana is a Clean City Coalition focused on advancing communities with education and resources on alternative fuel vehicles. Our mission is to advance alternative domestic fuel transportation, including energy-efficient technologies across all sectors in Indiana. We are a standalone nonprofit 501c3 organization serving 76 counties in the state, working with public and private sector members. For 21 years, we have been assisting cities, schools, utilities, fueling companies, government agencies, universities, and other nonprofit organizations with their alternative fuel fleet projects. Greater Indiana has around 80 members or stakeholders that work with us on collaborative opportunities, whether it is for funding opportunities, infrastructure development, or fleet deployment. Together, we host educational and networking events, fostering opportunities for partnerships between fleets and industry providers. As you can see, we have several of our champion members listed today. We also have many leader and advocate stakeholders listed on our website. Their membership has helped fund our work to deploy alternative fuels and technologies throughout the state. Together, we're fueling the future of a Greater Indiana. Clean Cities focuses on 4 major activities as part of a complementary framework: local and national partnerships. Clean Cities helps convene key community and business leaders to develop and implement projects, leverage resources, and address local barriers through the program's coalition. In addition, national partnerships leverage Clean Cities resources nationwide to engage with larger fleets and organizations. Information and education. Clean Cities develops data-driven tools to help consumers save money on fuel costs and help fleets understand their options for cost-effective alternatives. Technical and problem-solving assistance. Clean Cities help local leaders address permitting and safety issues, technology shortfalls, and other project implementation barriers. competitively awarded financial assistance. Clean cities use federal awards to provide funds that encourage an initial private sector match and long-term investment. This framework is bolstered by local support through designated clean city coalitions like ours that have their finger on the pulse of local market conditions and priorities. Local coalitions, such as Greater Indiana, can tap national resources to provide unbiased information, tools, experts to address barriers and solve problems, national partnerships with industry and large national fleets, publicity through mass media and outreach, and financial assistance to jumpstart markets and incentivize private investment. Today's webinar features a presentation given by EVunited. EVunited provides custom EV charging solutions for home, residential, and commercial businesses, including healthcare, retail, manufacturing, insurance, automotive, financial, higher education, parking solutions, and other industry. Their services include providing site surveys and professional installation of EV charging stations. Abby Roen, EVunited's Business Development Manager, will now lead the presentation for today's webinar.
Hi, thanks, Kerri. Can everybody hear me okay?
I hear you here, Abby. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for that great introduction, and thank you all for joining us to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Earth Day. No industry is going to change more over the next decade than transportation. So I hope today our discussion will allow you to charge forward and support your sustainability goals and facilitate a great path and prepare your site for the electric vehicle future. So the future of mobility certainly is electric. We're seeing entries in all class of vehicles, including Tesla with the Semi. There's a light commercial van by London Electric Vehicle Company. Tesla's Model S is now boosting its range to 390 miles between each charge. Amazon recently unveiled their new delivery van and placed a 100,000 unit order for an all-electric delivery fleet. Not to mention all of the Super Bowl ads that were revealed, 3 in particular, looking at electric vehicles and debuting General Motors Hummer. So the number of registered electric vehicles in the United States is now approaching 3 million. That's a huge number. Bloomberg is projecting that by 2040, 60 million EVs are projected to be sold, which is going to be 55% of our global light-duty vehicle market. Bloomberg is also predicting that in 2025, auto manufacturers will offer nearly 400 EV models. The commitment to electric vehicles is widespread across the entire automotive industry. As you can see on the screen, there's no shortage of the commitment, and the diversity of the auto manufacturers is huge. You can see Volvo plans to have an electric motor in every new car by 2020. General Motors is bringing 20 new all-electric models by 2023, and Ford is spending $4.5 billion over the next 5 years to add 13 electric models. Not to mention Tesla delivered 367,000 cars in 2019, which is an increase of 48%. So some huge strides being made in the industry, and this growth is going to require electric vehicle infrastructure. Let's take a quick look at what our current electric infrastructure gap. So we had discussed there's 3 million registered users. Statista data also shows that there's over 78,000 ports and 25,000 stations. We already have a gap based on the number of registered EVs in the United States. For every 120 electric vehicles, we only have one charging station. So our fueling infrastructure has to expand to be able to accommodate the surge we just talked about from the auto industry and all of those new EV drivers now and in the future. So you're probably asking yourself, where is a good place for an EV charging station? And I sound a little bit like a smart aleck when I say really anywhere that there's a parking spot is an opportunity to charge. The benefits of EV charging are robust. They can be felt in new construction, entertainment, higher education, even K-12 education. Fleets are converting at rapid speeds, parking facilities, workplaces, municipalities, home, and then multifamily homes, retail. It's just really endless where you can deploy EV infrastructure. And it's necessary in all of those places to be able to support and foster the adoption of electric vehicles. So with all those benefits of EV charging, the benefits are also that diverse within your organization. It can benefit many different parts of your organization, including HR benefits, facility management. It can help you reach your sustainability goals for your organization. It's really endless in the ways that your organization can be impacted, and it's not just a benefit for the EV driver. When you look at those EV charging benefits, I put together, looking at some of those sectors, what really can be created amongst those industry, and many of them overlap. For instance, if you're in retail, you can attract loyal customers. You can increase dwell times. If you're in government, you can boost the economy by having more people come into the local community, spend more time, eat at the local restaurants, shop at the local stores. Fleets are saving thousands of dollars in fuel costs. Parking organizations are able to charge a premium for a parking spot that is EV ready and can accommodate an electric vehicle. Many apartment condos and multifamily organizations are using it to attract new residents. It's a great amenity. You know, a lot of them will have a gym or a pool membership, but many of them have EV charging to allow that resident the opportunity to drive the car that they would like to drive. So and really for everyone, you can track environmental metrics. On Earth Day, I'd be remiss not to mention it. Set those sustainability goals and track your reduction in emissions. It's really a great way to contribute to your local community and the environment. You can also create your brand as a green leader. You can also use the stations to promote your initiatives, promote your organization. You can see on the right of my screen is a customized DC fast charger that our group did with the city of Worthington that really highlights the organization that put it there and makes it look like it's actually an asset of that community. So with all those benefits, there's also the need to evaluate your charging speed. So there's different levels of charging, and I'll just give you a quick overview of those levels. So a level 1 is a standard regular plug that you may find in your house. It's generally a good backup for an EV vehicle. It can charge at 5 miles RPH, which is the range recovered per hour. So if you're using that type of charging, you're going to charge your car for 12 to 40 hours. So take a long time, probably not ideal for most situations. Level 2 is able to charge at an increased speed, which will charge a car from in between 2 and 4 hours. This is great for a fleet, commercial use, also can be used in a home. DC fast charging, you can get between 100 and 200 RPHs, which is very quick. Charge a car between 15 and 45 minutes, can be used on a commercial en route travel. All of these really complement one another, and none of them could replace one or the other, because there is a use case for each one of them in your community and in your organization. So I am going to pause. I think Kerri has a poll question for us. It should pop up here. I am not seeing that poll pop up. Hopefully you'll be able to answer it. The poll question is regarding an EV plan, and does your organization have a plan to accommodate EV charging?
Abby, people are answering it, so
Oh,
I'm gonna,
perfect.
yeah, hang on one sec. Not sure why it's, well, because you got your presentation up, so hang on one second here. I'm not sure if anyone can see, Abby, if you can see the results, but we have 38% that yes, they have an EV charging plan. 31% is no, they do not have one. And then 31% are in the process of creating one.
Awesome. Pretty almost split between those three categories. Thank you all for answering that. Now that we've really talked about the different types of charging speeds, it's best to really evaluate what speed is going to be right for your application, and that you can utilize many questions to answer those to determine what's going to be right for you. For instance, who will be using the station? Are they going to stay overnight? Are they going to be there a few hours? How quickly do they really need to be able to charge their car to go on to their next destination? Where is the property located? How long would you like the driver to be in the location? Do you want them to stay a little longer? Do you want them to be in and out? Our team can help you determine your speed needs and make a recommendation to support your organization. It's an important consideration and really an evaluation of what station is going to be right for you, but also leads right into the power availability and really moving into that site assessment. Power considerations are very important. It can be just as simple as where is your power source located and how far is it from the parking spot that you would choose? And is it important that you use that parking spot, or from a design standpoint, can you use one closer to that power source? The electrical panel, do you have enough space available? Are you going to have to upgrade your panel? Are you going to have to add an additional panel or an additional electrical capacity for that particular area of your building? Are you going to need a utility consultation? Do you need a new service? What type of service will be required? Do you have single phase or three-phase power in that area? And what kind of costs are you going to be able to anticipate based on the increased needs or demand based on which level of charging that you choose? And the design installation, you're going to need electrical drawings and permits, and who's going to do that work for you? So our team offers a complimentary site design and assessment, and I'll give you more details to take advantage of that as we move through the presentation. So as I mentioned, there's different levels of charging, but we also have a station for every situation. So as we talked about, you can have stations at your home, either single family or multifamily. You can have a depot or a fleet solution, as well as mixed use level 2 and DC fast. There's also, our team has the opportunity to offer you a wired solution, which would be the standard DC fast charger. And on the right, we have a portable ultra fast EV charging solution that doesn't require the infrastructure upgrades. So we really have a solution for every situation and can help accommodate the needs of your site now and as you grow in the future. So every plan has to be designed with the future in mind. As we saw earlier, the electric vehicle market is going to continue to expand and evolve, and really creating your plan, you want to make sure that you match the demand that you have now, but that you're prepared for future demand and make the appropriate infrastructure upgrades now so you don't have to do that again. Many things that you can think about are funding. Are there funding sources available? Grants, utility incentives. There's a federal tax credit available for 30% or up to $30,000 against your EV infrastructure and charging equipment. I know Kerri's going to talk a lot today about the grants and utility incentives, and Indiana is in a great position to be able to maximize some of those benefits. So current demand, we can help you with a survey to evaluate the needs now. Do you have employees? Do you have residents that really want EV charging now? And what do you anticipate it to look like in 3 years? Are you expanding? Do you think you'll have quadruple the number of EV charging units? Really be forward thinking and plan your site based on accommodating future needs to minimize those costs. How will you recoup the electricity costs? Are you going to charge the driver for the electricity, or are you going to absorb that? And if you absorb it now, do you want to absorb it when that demand is significantly increased? Sustainability goals. How are you going to measure it? How do are you going to benchmark it? Do you want to measure your success? Do you need to report those increases or benefits to someone else? You can't track what you're not measuring. Station management. Who's going to manage the station? Who will monitor it? Are you going to have someone responsible for repairs? Is someone going to field calls from drivers when they can't get the station to work? Or are you going to rely on your vendor to be able to take care of that in the future? So there's with that focus plan in mind, there's different things to consider when you choose your station as well. So there's smart, and we usually call them dumb stations, but I don't think that's a very polite word. So we're going to call them smart versus unintelligent charging solutions. So a smart solution gives you forward-focused abilities. It has visibility to drivers on apps. It allows drivers to pay through that app. You have the ability to charge consumers for the power if you would like to. You have the ability to charge at different times of the day if you want to. You have remote access to it and maintenance. It's monitored 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So someone else is going to take care of that and be able to push live updates out to it, to the station. It has full sustainability reporting, and I'm not sure if you can see the screen. On the screen there is a little screen on the station itself that allows you to communicate with EV drivers, allows you to advertise certain things that may be happening at your workplace or in your community, and also allows you to brand that station so that it reflects your organization or your community. So with that, I would like to give kind of an overview of EVunited. We are a turnkey solution that will incorporate all of the different considerations that you'll be faced when you create your EV awareness plan and you execute that and really bring it to life. So we can help you at any point in the process with many of the different features, the equipment, the make ready. We can do one, we could do the other. We'll help you with the discovery, plan your site, figure out the charging capacity that you need, work with a utility provider to help bring in power if that's necessary. We also can help you with the equipment selection, as well as the number of stations you need based on your need. We'll design the site, we'll take you clear through the permitting process, we'll install the station, and then bring you on the other side to help you look at any of grants, utilities that may be available, and help with the implementation of the station. Establish a pricing policy and how you're going to integrate it into your workplace as an HR benefit, or how you're going to implement and bring it into your community as a community resource. So I appreciate the opportunity to tell you a little bit about our organization and hopefully give you some things to think about. Not all EV plans are the same, size, and definitely not the same solution. Our team can help you prepare to charge forward by giving you that free site assessment and complimentary site evaluation to help you prepare to charge forward in the future. So thank you very much for your time. I'm gonna go ahead. I think Kerri's gonna open it up for questions at this time.
Again, the questions can be, you can type them into the panel on the right. Let's see here. These boxes are insanely tiny. Okay. Okay, someone is asking if EVunited is a vendor agnostic installer. And go ahead.
We are a partner with ChargePoint, as well as SparkCharge, but we can provide evaluations if you would like to use other equipment. And then we would also, appreciate the opportunity to let you know why we selected the particular vendor that we did to support our EV charging goals.
Do you provide multiple options to prospective customers that span cost constraints and functionality requirements?
Absolutely. Within the portfolio of chargers that we have, we can help find a solution and tailor that solution to the needs of the organization, whether it's a fleet charging station that you don't want to be available to the public. There's lots of things that we can consider, and our electrical team will also walk the site with you and really help make design recommendations that can save a lot of money.
All right. Does EVunited only offer networked chargers? And is there an ongoing fee for network chargers?
There is
Do you have a quantified payback, financial payback, excuse me?
It would depend on the charger and the situation, and the electrical make ready is going to could be substantially different for each one. We do offer networked solutions. We have the ability you can make the purchase outright. We also have a leasing option that many customers like to take advantage of. It brings down the cost, and you can allocate that over certain months to make sure you're recouping your investment. So yeah, there's a lot of different tools that we can use to help you evaluate what your cost upfront will be, and then how we could either, structure the financing to help support you, or research potential grants or incentives that are available. A lot of the grants and incentives do require them to be networked, and some of them require it to be utilized over a course of time. So we would help evaluate that to ensure that you're meeting the needs of the grant and utility requirement.
Thank you. I have about two more. Do you see wireless charging in the future, such as chargers built into the floor of garages, etc.?
Yeah, I think the future is bright. The industry is evolving. One of the reasons that we selected ChargePoint as our partner is their robust R&D. So I think we're really at the tipping point where the EV cars are making great strides, and then the EV charging infrastructure is going to follow close behind.
Great. And do you have any insights into how the EV infrastructure for Class 8 is being built out across the country? Class 8 vehicles?
I don't. I'm not sure, Kerri, if you can offer any insight into that.
I think it's a good follow-up question.
Yeah.
Could you expand a bit more on the networked charger? What are the benefits for an employer that doesn't want to collect or invoice employees?
So the network charger in this case would provide a lot of reporting as far as sustainability goals. It could show the number of kilowatts being used. You don't have to charge the employees. You can actually not charge employees and then charge other users that would come to the facility to help offset those costs. The network charger, also one of the main benefits is that as new cars are released onto the market, each one of those cars are tested, and then ChargePoint works very closely with the auto manufacturers to ensure that when that car is released, it's going to be able to, that station's going to be able to charge that particular car. So the network solution is allowing for those updates to happen real time. So that's a huge benefit, especially, over the course of the next 4 or 5 years, if we're going to have 400 electric vehicles, you're going to want to make sure the station that you choose is able to take those updates and charge the new cars that are coming onto the market. The network capability also allows it to be monitored 24/7. So if the station does go down, it will alert ChargePoint before, many times before the employer would know that there was anything wrong.
Great. Well, thank you, Abby. Now we're going to turn over the presentation to Craig Morris, the Energy Services Program Manager for Indiana Michigan Power. Indiana Michigan Power recently launched a pilot program called I Am Plugged In. One sec, I gotta make sure Craig isn't muted. I Am Plugged In, which provides a customer-focused plan for those wanting to adopt electric vehicles and EV technology.
Hello, Kerri, you can hear me?
Yep.
Great. Well, welcome to all of our attendees. We hope that you are healthy and safe during this challenging time, and we thank you very much for the time that you are giving us today. I'm going to discuss over the next several minutes several things that go into our program. First, I'll take you through the framework of our EV program. I'll introduce you to the I Am Plugged In pilot, which is a new pilot that was recently approved by the Indiana Regulatory Commission. Discuss some of the program elements, take you through the enrollment process, and then leave time for questions. To begin, our EV transportation strategic framework is really founded in 5 areas. One is education and outreach. This is all about our marketing, our education, our engagement with all of our customers, and all the support mechanisms that we have in place to share our information about our new program with the community. We also are establishing partnerships with the OEs, the automakers, to ensure that they are aware of all of the rebate offers and program offers that we have available to our local customers in the IM territory. Leading by example is about our infrastructure inside and having the fleet vehicles available for our personnel. And so we began to evolve that in terms of the AAP network, specifically for I&M. We have recently brought in several light-duty vehicles for our employees to be able to use for customer calls and engagements. We also are championing pilots in our territory that involve increased electric transportation. An example most recently of that was up in our Michigan territory. We were part of a EV bus rollout for the schools up in that geography. We also are looking at the off-peak load impact. So looking at the solutions that we provide and the programs that we offer to make sure that we can manage the load and make sure that we are moving our customers into the most advantageous, financially advantageous areas of moving to off-peak load. And also looking at the charging station infrastructure, which goes into point 4 on the public infrastructure. As Abby talked about, we are also involved in that long-term vision of what the transportation network looks like and the charging station network looks like along our corridors throughout our territory. And then finally, we're very engaged with our utility commissions and the governments that we work within the geographies that we work, for making sure that we are providing the right types of programs, the right types of incentives, and that we are advocating for increased participation and adoption of EVs for the future. These 5 strategic focus areas really will drive, we believe, increased EV adoption, and at the same time optimize the use of the power grid, which is very important as EVs expand in the geography to make sure that we're providing value to all customers. Frozen here, give me a second. The EV market plan timeline gives you an overview of the last couple of years as how we've evolved our EV marketing program. In 2017, we basically had in the state of Indiana 2 tariff options that were available to customers. I would like to call these light options. They were more of time of day options available. They really didn't have any other components than somebody being able to use that tariff potentially for reducing some of their consumption. And over the time of those tariff options, we've learned a lot more about the use, about time, about load, and that has actually fed into the program now that we offer with the IM Plugged In program, which I'll talk about in a minute. In 2018, we launched our EV website. So that was a basic website that customers could come to learn a little bit more about what we offered. And at that time, we didn't have a ton of content. And I'll talk about how that's evolved over the future. In May of 2019, we began to incorporate our first fleet vehicles into our IM system. June, we began our dealership engagement throughout the state. We made visits to dealers throughout the state. And this is one of the areas that was important in our evolution, because there we learned about the relationship between the dealership and the manufacturer, and what the manufacturer was requiring of the dealership in order for a dealership to sell an EV vehicle to a customer. In July of 19, we did upgrade our EV website. We began to put more content, more educational material, more information for customers as they wanted to expand their knowledge base around electric vehicles. In August of 18, our plugged in customer email portal was established. This is the direct link to for our customers to be able to ask us questions, to gauge interest, provide information directly back to each customer, and that is active today, and that has been active since August of 2019. In March of this year, we did receive approval from the Indiana Utility Commission for our IM Plugged In pilot request, which I'll talk about in a minute. So we're very excited about that. And we are currently finishing the final touches on standing up the program in its complete form for ready for a May 1st launch. So a little bit about the IM Plugged In pilot program overview. There are 3 customer classes that we are providing rebates to. First is our residential small commercial. There are 1,000 what they call annual customer caps. So that means the first 1,000 customers that embark on this will be eligible for a $500 rebate. They will also be eligible for a tariff program, which I'll talk about a little bit later, that provides them an opportunity to go to a tariff that provides an off-peak loading benefit. Our multi-unit dwelling program is a $250 rebate, and that is for the first 100 customers that apply for that. And then our C&I fleet and workplace program, again, is $250 for the first 100 that apply for that program. One important point about both of those, there is a 5-year revenue credit option available through our contribution and aid of construction. And I'll talk about that when I go into the tariffs. But that is a program that allows both of those classes to look at the financial benefits of either taking the $250 per unit, per charging unit, or taking the option of a 5-year revenue credit through that CIAC program. So a little bit about the rebate components. As I talked about residential, this is a $500 rebate for 240 volt wiring, or what we consider a level 2 EV charger. If they go up to a level 3, that would still qualify with a proof of a PEV purchase. And the incentive is limited to the first 1,000 customers enrolling in the tariffs. We had a similar program up in Michigan, so we've got a good sense of gauging participation, and we feel very comfortable that 1,000 is a good number for us to bring in a whole bunch of new entries. For our multi-unit dwelling and our fleet workplace, as I said, $250 for the same 240 volt wiring or level 2 up to a level 3, and that would be limited to the first 100 customers in each of those classes. The contribution and aid option, as I talked about, this would be available for general service tariff customers that have that class of tariff, and it's pretty straightforward. I've given you an example here. The way it works is when we come out to a site, our engineering department will look at the impact of installing the charging stations, what impact that will have on the transformer, and if it's an easy transition, or if it's going to be more complex where a pole has to be put up. That's what that first upfront cost is all about. There's a cost to doing all of that work from the utility side. And so in this example, I said, let's say it's $10,000. It's been estimated that any of the changes that would have to be made to set up the transformer, any changes to the infrastructure, let's just say that was $10,000. The engineers have forecasted that's what it would take to make all those changes to get you ready. You would then be looked at for your consumption with a projection over 5 years. So they would look at the square footage of your facility. They would take into account all of the equipment that is being used, and they will project a forecast of what revenue contribution that would make over that 5-year time. That would be estimated over 5 years as a bundle. And in this case, I said, okay, that was worth $5,000 when they did the estimate. So the remaining balance, and that would go to you as a credit, and the remaining balance that would be responsibility of the customer would be $5,000. So it went from $10,000, you get the credit for the $5,000, and you would have a balance of $5,000 to get the infrastructure set up. A little bit about the tariff design. So when we look at our tariff, we look at the energy costs over time, the impact to not just that facility, but the impact to all of the customer base that we draw from. And we look at trying to make sure that we design it in such a way that it keeps the load shape adequate for us, so that if you think about the hottest day in July, where everybody's got their air conditioning going, but also everybody's charging at the same time, we're trying to make sure that we can maintain that load over time. And so that goes into the input in thinking about how do we shape the tariff for the off-peak consumption and provide that opportunity for our customers to take advantage. And really what we have to consider is the benefit, not just for that specific customer, but the benefit for all customers when we put these programs together. So if you look at the residential, we call an 029, there is a tariff that provides you a 3.5-cent credit for off-peak charging. There's an additional sub-meter added that will measure that at the residence, and that provides us the data that we need to make sure that we're billing correctly. For our general service, which is our commercial industry, we have two options available. A 219 option that is available to customers that have averaged less than 4,500 kilowatt hours used per month over 12 months. So we'll look at that data, and that's really not impacted with any kind of an additional sub-meter. It just basically goes through the meter that's available to us at that time. And you can see there is a 5.5 cent savings between the on-peak and the off-peak. The second tariff, the 220, that's available to customers having averaged less than 4,500 uses, 4,500 kilowatt hours per month per previous 12 months. There is a sub-meter added in this case, and the total general service usage will be billed at the customer's tariff monthly rate. A credit would be applied for all off-peak PEV usage measured, and there's no second meter charge for this PEV sub-meter applying when the usage is 250 kilowatt hours or greater. And you can see on the bottom of the slide, off-peak is defined at 5:59 to 11:01, 5:59 a.m. to 11:01 p.m. On peak is 6 a.m. to 11. A little bit about the enrollment process, as I talked about earlier. The first entry point for engagement is through that I Am Plugged In website, where the customer learns of the program. We will send a recognition email that we've received your inquiry. We will send you the detail based on what the question is that you're asking. If you're just asking for general information, or if you're specifically looking for information on the application process, we will send that back to the customer. Customer will fill out an application if that's appropriate. If they've asked for an application, you will have an application sent to you. That application will be filled out, and you'll upload that back and send it back to us. We'll receive that, and then we'll look at that application. If it's complete, we proceed. If it's not complete, we'll send you a note back that we still need some information and follow up with you appropriately. If it is approved, the necessary field folks are notified that they have a customer in their geography, so the respective local CSAR, customer service rep, is notified of that. They will make an appointment with yourself and the contractor that you're selecting for installation. And there will be a meeting on site so that all parties can kind of understand what's going to be required, what's needed, any questions can be answered. And then once that takes place, that contractor does the work. The customer then submits their invoice after that back to us. We complete that process of the application, and then the rebate is paid out. Pretty straightforward, and really doesn't take a lot of time. We've got our experience with Michigan, so it's worked very smoothly, and we anticipate it will be the same for Indiana for our rollout. So again, thank you very much for your time and for your participation. If you do have any additional questions that you'd like to ask past this webinar, you can send them to the I Am Plugged In site. But that's pretty much it. So, Kerri, I don't know if we have any questions that have come in at this point.
We do. I got a couple for you. The first one is, what are CNI customers? So I think we got into an abbreviation issue.
I'm sorry. Yep. Apologize for that. Commercial and industrial.
Great. For multi-unit dwellings and commercial and industrial fleet workplace, could they qualify for the $250 rebate if they install a simple non-network charger that are only $400 each?
I think that would qualify. I might have to follow up just to make sure that there's no additional language that has not been captured, but I think my first reaction would be that should be available to them as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right.
And I'm just getting a text from one of my folks that the answer to that is yes.
Great.
So thank you, Jeff.
All right. I think the rest were during Abby's presentation. So I am going to hang on one second. Okay. Yep. Those were all Abby's. Okay. Well, thank you, Craig, for reviewing the IM plugged-in pilot program for Indiana Michigan Power customers. When we look at EV infrastructure costs, there's always the question of available funding opportunities. Let's switch my screen here, guys. Hang on. There we go. Now we're in business. Thankfully, many utility companies serving Indiana are offering programs, making it more cost-effective for their customers to switch over to electric vehicles. I am going to cover some other options currently available in Indiana. While I will cover these options, this does not mean there couldn't be other opportunities available through other companies, agencies, and organizations. You may find some entities are interested in EV infrastructure as an economic development opportunity, tourist attraction, or amenity, and could therefore be potential partners. As most know by now, the Environmental Mitigation Trust Fund is the result of a consent decree between the U.S. Justice Department and the Volkswagen Corporation and its subsidiaries. The settlement required Volkswagen to pay $2.9 billion into an Environmental Mitigation Trust Fund to offset the excess air pollution emitted by some of the Volkswagen vehicles that violated the Clean Air Act. Indiana is set to receive approximately $40.9 million from the trust in at least 3 separate installments starting in 2019, with all funds being fully dispersed by 2028. 15% of the state's $40.9 million, which is roughly $6.14 million, can be used for light-duty electric vehicle charging equipment, for direct current fast chargers, or level 2 charging equipment. Grants under this program are administered by the Indiana Department of Environmental Management, or IDEM, and overseen by the Indiana Volkswagen Environmental Mitigation Trust Fund Committee. I'm going to say stay tuned at this point because the request for proposals has not yet been released. For more information and to sign up for updates and announcements, I recommend visiting IDEM's website, in.gov/idem/air quality. The good news on what is available now is the round 2 for the Indiana Volkswagen Environmental Mitigation Trust Program. These are for clean air projects focused on equipment and vehicle repowers and replacements with newer, cleaner alternatives of various fuel types. Grant awards will range from $50,000 to $2 million, with total available funding for this round at $9.83 million. Eligible projects for on-road equipment and vehicles include Class 4 through 8 trucks and Class 4 through 8 school, shuttle, and public transit buses. And these are to replace older model years, 1992 to 2009. The non-road equipment and vehicles group includes airport ground support equipment, forklifts and port cargo handling equipment, lake or river ferries and tugboats, and freight switcher locomotives. All applicants requesting funding must be registered with the Indiana Secretary of State and must operate vehicles and equipment in conjunction with Indiana facilities. What I want to highlight is that a replacement with a new all-electric vehicle can be funded up to 75% with a 25% match. If you meet the eligibility requirements and have been wanting to switch an older diesel-powered fleet vehicle to an electric one, this would be a good grant to check out. And as a result of the COVID-19 crisis, IDEM and the VW committee extended the application deadline for round 2 proposals to May 31st, 2020. IDEM also has another grant program they offer called DieselWise Indiana. These projects are to reduce diesel emissions from on-road and non-road vehicles and equipment. The last round was due in December of 2019 and was for non-road equipment only. Again, I encourage you to visit IDEM's website for further information. The Indianapolis Power and Light Company, or IPL, offers special PEV charging rates, including year-round, time-of-use-based options for residential and business customers who own a licensed PEV. They also offer a flat fee for IPL public charging stations. The EVX rate is for charging at home. The EVP rate is for public charging stations. Customers who are considering purchasing Level 2 electric vehicle supply equipment should contact IPL to discuss the benefits and requirements of participating in the program. Restrictions do apply. They also have features on their website for finding charging stations and buying an EV charger. For more information, see the IPL electric vehicle charging website. Duke Energy is doing a lot with industry-leading automotive manufacturers, charging system providers, government organizations, and other stakeholders to promote electric vehicles. They are working with various organizations to promote clean transportation and find ways to encourage EV adoption. Initiatives include increasing access to EV charging, researching how residential EV charging affects the grid, and helping companies make the switch from fuel-powered equipment to electric. Duke has proposed an EV program for its Indiana customers. Their program is not yet approved in Indiana, so I encourage any of their customers looking at EV programs to check out their website on electric vehicles under Energy Savings and Efficiency. On that website, you will see features such as benefits of EVs, charging your EV, choosing your EV, and information on their EV initiatives. They also have an electric vehicle savings calculator to help estimate fuel savings. I think it's safe to say all utilities serving Indiana are considering EV infrastructure needs and how to best incorporate consumer choice into programs for their customers. If you or your company or organization are considering putting in EV infrastructure, the first call should always be to your electric utility company. Greater Indiana is often brought in to assist with these projects to find partners or additional funding opportunities for EV infrastructure. The Indiana Office of Energy Development, or OED, coordinates state energy policy with executive branch agencies, houses energy-related programs, and works to support a strong, comprehensive, coordinated energy plan for Indiana. The office also administers grant programs funded by the U.S. Department of Energy. These grants promote the use of alternative power and fuels, energy efficiency, and public education on energy issues in Indiana. Such grant opportunities include the Community Energy Challenge, the Rural Energy Innovation Grant, and the Hoosier Homegrown Fuels Blender Pump Program. They also provide a list of other energy funding resources. If you are interested in checking out more about their programs, I highly encourage you to visit their website, in.gov/OED. That concludes our webinar. I want to thank everyone again for joining us today to learn more about EV charging benefits and planning, the IM Plugged-In pilot program, and funding opportunities. Special thank you to our speakers, Abby and Craig, for giving us a fantastic overview of their program. Should anyone have any follow-ups or questions, please feel free to reach out to me at Greater Indiana Clean Cities at the contact information listed on this slide. Our website also has information and resources, including signing up for our newsletter and a listing of upcoming events. Right now, we unfortunately cannot hold in-person events. However, any events we host will be listed and promoted on all our social media platforms as well as our website. And please remember to take our quick 2-minute survey so we can make sure we continue to plan webinars of value to our stakeholders. Have a great day, everyone, and stay safe.